Okay, here we go. All right, Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, Congressman, you're filing a bill that would allow deported veterans back into the U.S. Where does that bill stand right now, and what kind of support are you getting on Capitol Hill?
Yeah. Actually, I filed that bill a couple of hours ago. We lobbied the White House and members of Congress on both sides of the aisle, and I filed it with a co-sponsor, a Republican, Don Young from Alaska, and I have Beto O'Rourke on my side. But we intend to have vast support on both sides of the aisle. It took us a while to tweak the language in the bill to something that everybody could live with, and I think we're there. So now we're going to see what committee it's going to be assigned to, and we'll start working that committee and hopefully eventually get it out of committee and to the floor, and hope for it to become the law of the land at some point soon.
Realistically, when you say sometime soon, when could that happen if it does?
Well, obviously, unfortunately, things move pretty slow in Congress, but I'm hoping this legislative session, and I'm talking to people. We have a lot of support, obviously, from the Hispanic Caucus. I'm a member of the Problem Solvers Caucus, which is 22 Republicans and 22 Democrats, and I've got a lot of positive feedback on that. I have one of the most conservative Republican members of Congress and the most senior member of Congress on the Republican side as my original co-sponsor of the bill. So I'm really happy for that. I think he will have a lot of followers on his side of the aisle, and I intend to work my side, and we hope to push this through. I can't give you an exact timeline because things take time, and also some of it will be determined by what committee it is assigned to. It could be assigned to the VA committee, it could be assigned to the Judiciary Committee, or it could be assigned to Homeland Security. And there are different politics in each one of those, and we will just see where it lands and what we have to do to get it out of the particular committee it lands in.
Okay, Congressman, before we get to NAFTA, I just want to ask a question about the news of the day. Your thoughts on Trump reinstating the ban on transgenders in the military?
Well, I think it's a tragedy. I think it's a step back. These are American human beings who have been fighting for our freedom. Historically, they've been doing it, and it's up to this date. They still serve proudly in our armed forces, and I think today was certainly a step back in history.
Okay. Also, quickly about health care. Of course, Tuesday, Senate Republicans came with a vote to continue the debate to repeal and replace Obamacare. What are your thoughts moving forward on this? Do you think that they'll eventually get to that, or do you think this is something that will fall along the wayside?
That's a really tough question to answer. I don't think people on Capitol Hill could answer that question at this point. But what I believe is that we should try to fix what we have already. I think what's happening is we're seeing politics at its best. People want to own the bill. People want to be able to put their name on it. But if you just tweak the bill that we have now and improve it, it wasn't a perfect bill, but it's something that gave coverage to all of Americans, including folks with pre-existing conditions, older Americans who have difficulty finding coverage before they enter the age of Medicare and Medicaid or Medicare. And I think that we should try to improve the ACA, and we don't really need a complete repeal. Now, I assume that if that were to happen, the replacement will be nothing more than a improvement of the ACA anyway.
Right. Well, a lot going on with the renegotiation of NAFTA. In your opinion, what changes need to be made to make NAFTA better?
Right. Well, I have to begin with a premise that it's a good agreement. The North American Free Trade Agreement has transformed South Texas, and it's been a huge winner for the state of Texas, particularly our energy sector, our trade sector in the Valley. I think that society has changed in the past 23 years, so there may be some improvements, such as online trading that's going on around the world, and technology. I think we can improve the wait times on our borders. During the summertime, we have 18-wheelers, spending the night in Mexico because they can't get their product across, especially perishable goods. I think we should find ways to make that happen a little easier. So there are some tweaks that could improve the agreement, but I think in general, the North American Free Trade Agreement has been a success for all three countries involved.
All right, and Congressman, you have now been on the job for, I believe, 6 months. So what has that experience been like, and is it what you expected?
Yeah, I guess it is what I expected. I think it's an odd time to show up for the first time. We're living through some very complex times in America, and obviously a very divisive time in this country. But I do believe that it's generally what I expected when I took this job. It's a hard job. It's long hours, and you don't have a day off. You're always engaged, but it's certainly, it's never a dull moment, to say the least.
And finally, Congressman, just wanted to ask you, you had dinner with the president not too long ago. A little bit about that dinner. What was discussed?
Yeah, I did. And it was actually, I believe, a very productive meeting. We were able to talk about issues that affect the American people, such as infrastructure, tax reform. I was able to talk about my deported veterans bill, which the president agreed was something that needed to be addressed. He agreed that we should not be deporting our American heroes, and I certainly hope to hold his feet to the fire and assure that he continues to back this bill and eventually bring our deported veterans home and stop deporting American heroes. So in that sense, I think we did well. I had an opportunity to talk about the wall, which affects our district and the southern border of Texas. I try to give him other options, such as a virtual wall. I'm a law and order member of Congress. I think we should have border security and an order on our border, but I do believe that there are more effective methods of doing it than having the simplistic idea of a concrete or brick mortar wall. I think we should be, when we're talking about a wall, we should be talking about a virtual wall, a wall through technology, through aerostats, cameras, sensors, and more boots on the ground. Particularly, I've been on the border with our Border Patrol agents, and I see that they have infrastructure issues, such as some of the roads that move them around areas that do have some illegal activity. They're in very poor condition. I think we should invest money in improving this infrastructure, which I think would give us very good security in our region and across the border throughout the country. I don't believe it's, when people talk about a wall, it kind of sounds like that you build a wall and you get to walk away from it and the country is now secure. But you have to continue to secure this area, and I think we already have a wall. It's called the Rio Grande River, and we need to continue to secure this boundary in intelligent ways. I think a $20 billion plus expenditure out of our taxpayers' budget would be a huge waste of money, and I wouldn't want to do this to our taxpayers. So I'm against the wall for the very clear idea that it wouldn't be effective, and it certainly wouldn't be an efficient way of securing our border.
Very quickly, yes or no, was the president open to your suggestions?
He was. Well, on the wall, I can't say so. On the deported veterans, I got a lot of support on. On the wall, I'm not so sure, but what I do know is after that conversation, a week later, I know that he tweeted out or he sent a message out talking about a wall of solar panels. Well, at least we're moving into an idea of technology, of something that has some benefit to it. I still don't think a wall of solar panels would be the answer to securing our border. But, it was a very respectful meeting. It was a productive meeting. And I think that it was the right thing to do, is to be able to sit, with your adversary or somebody who has a different point of view and be able to discuss issues candidly. And, I continue to invite him to our border region, and I would love to show him around. And I think he would have a very different idea when he walked away as what he believes now. You know, you don't learn about border security from New York City. You need to come down to the border and really tour it, and it can't be just there, you know, for a couple of hours of photo ops. We need to really get in the trenches and understand what we're dealing with.
Thank you so much for joining us, Congressman. We look forward to your recess when you're back here in the Valley. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, Eddie.